Okaeri nasai minasan. Today we're gonna talk about Kamen Rider Geats episode 34, and we actually started out this episode with a really scary fight between Ukyo S and also Chiram, because out of nowhere the video that we are watching went for 1080p to 144p because of a simple shot that they actually tried to do, and I'm not sure how to express my feeling towards that shot, because I kind of like understand why would they go for a cheaper camera, because one thing we need to understand that they are not actually shooting a Hollywood movie, and they don't have a lot of budget, and they are shooting a television series, so they are not willing to risk destroying a camera that is high quality just for that simple shot. For those who are paying close attention to the shot itself, they are doing I think they are using kind of like a crane, and then they are flying over the S when he's like running through, and we actually get to see real explosion. And when that actually happened, the debris and stuff might actually hit the camera lens, it might actually hit the camera or something like that, and it's gonna be bye-bye. Okay, like if the camera spoiled, they need an extra budget to buy new camera, and that is gonna cost them a lot. And if you are willing to risk that, means that maybe in the future we might not actually get to see new riders or new form, something like that. Like all of the rider that we see right now might actually be in their final form, because the rest of the budget has been wasted on the new camera, something like that. But that is just something that I just want to share in the perspective of production. Like, why did they actually went from full HD to 144p? It is to save a little bit of budget. Okay, so with that being said, let me talk about the next thing I want to talk about, and that is Chiram. Is he dead? Because the way he kind of like get destroyed is very different from the way Gilori actually disappeared. The Gilori disappeared similarly like how the rider actually got retired from the DGP. It is a similar blue light, but for Chiram it is different. Like the way he actually glow is kind of like a square-ish light, something like that, and maybe that is to kind of like signify the death of a future people. Because one thing we need to understand is that the future people are designed, you could actually say that they might not even be biological human being at all, because we actually get to see Kekera is a statue of a frog. Okay, he is legit a statue of a frog, but when he came to this world, he's able to kind of like redesign his body. He's able to kind of like create an avatar of a human body to move around and talk to people, something like that. And that is why we actually get to see a human Kekera and a frog statue Kekera. So because of this, I would actually assume that Chiram is 100% dead, and the reason why the way he died is kind of like not very human, like bleeding or just die on the floor, but instead of kind of like he have a little bit of particle around him, is because he is from the future and he's not kind of like a biological human, but he's more of an artificial human, something like that. That is my theory on what is actually happening. Okay, but with that being said, the next thing I want to talk about is the new game master SUEL. So apparently this SUEL is actually the founder of the DGP, and I'm not sure what is happening right now, because the first time we actually saw him is he doesn't actually have a body. He has a transparent body, something like that. I was like, what is happening? What is going on? Like, why is he transparent, something like that? But apparently that is, I would say, maybe just to give a little bit of wow factor, because when they actually go back to the alternative chamber to talk with Buffa and S, we actually get to see that he actually still have his body, something like that. But something that I want to talk about SUEL, about being the founder, is like he immediately asked like everyone, like, hey, what do you want, something like that, and he actually bring back Desire Royal, and that is the most fundamental version of the DGP when it actually got started. Okay, I would assume that is the original DGP. Okay, before it became DGP, because before it became kind of like an entertainment show, before it became Physical 100, it used to be the Gladiator Colosseum, something like that. Okay, so that is something really interesting that I actually get to see. But another thing that I'm really surprised is we don't actually get to see Navigator being used in sending out the driver this time. We actually get to see that the driver was teleport in front of all the rider immediately, and we actually get to see quite a lot of riders being receiving their driver and receiving their ID call, something like that. And it is not only limited to the rider that we saw and the rider that we know that is gonna come for the Desire Royale itself. So it actually begs me, give me a question, like what is happening? Like they are they like going lazy, or are they kind of like trying to reduce a little bit of budget by not introducing more kind of like random riders that is only gonna stay for a few episodes? I'm not sure. Okay, but Sarah is now in the Desire Royale, and we actually get to see her in her suit for the first time, Kamen Rider Hakubi if not mistaken, and her henshin pose started out very similarly as Sakurai Kewa, just that it is a little bit different. She started out like this, and then she kind of like turn one bit round and then do something like this, something like that. So it is kind of like a mixture between Kewa's henshin pose and also Neon's henshin pose. Kewa henshin pose started from here, and then it actually it started out from here, and then it become a flower, and then henshin, something like that. I'm not very sure how does Kewa actually does it, but that is just what I can't remember. Okay, but really love the new suit that Sarah actually have, and I just have to say Sarah is truly really adorable in this episode. Like how naive she is when Daichi, when Sparrow actually talks to her, and she actually introduced herself to Daichi. That is like, what the hell, man? Like, what is happening? They are really cute, and I don't know what is happening. Okay, but really amazing stuff here. But the next thing we want to talk about is Kekera, because now the main reason why Sarah actually joined the Desire Royale is because Kekera kind of like approach Sarah and say, hey, if you join the Desire Royale, then I'm gonna resurrect Kewa for you, something like that. So that is the deal that Kekera made with Beroba itself, and Kekera actually give an idea to Beroba saying about, hey, you know, like maybe something sinister, I'm gonna show you something that is suffering to a human being, something like that. So I am not so sure whether or not Kekera right now is someone that is fully evil or someone that is just trying to play Beroba right here, because there is a possibility that Kekera, which stands for laughter, could actually be the real Joker of the series itself. Like, just I'm not so sure how many of you actually understand the character of Joker itself. Like, there is one interpretation of Joker where he is someone that have a very bad day. Just say you only need one bad day to become a Joker. That is kind of like the story, the motto of the story, something like that. And we might actually get to see Kekera trying to cause Kewa to become a Joker himself. You know, like he really want to see Kewa lose hope and lose his way of life. And how does Kekera actually find laughter by seeing someone suffer? Is because he sees the humor in tragedy. Like, I think there's a famous quote back in the day surrounding the internet. Is like, I see my life, all my life, as a tragedy, but it turns out to be a comedy, something like that. I think the Joker actually said that sentence, if not mistaken, but correct me if I'm wrong. If you know the proper way for the quote to happen, something like that, let me know in the comment section below, because I really truly believe that if the Yuya Takahashi actually write Kekera to be someone that is so nani the fuck, it's like he actually writes Kekera to be someone that is like, he just want to see someone like losing his way of life, like becoming a hypocrite is entertaining to him. Then it's kind of like, doesn't that kind of like be quite similar to Beroba, like when he or she, Kagera and Beroba see someone suffer and they actually find entertainment in that. That is really, really kind of like asshole move, something like that, I would say. But we also get to hear Kagera say something like how it is only when someone actually reach the bottom pit, that is when someone is gonna start to grow, someone is gonna start to change, something like that. So just that is what I mentioned just now about what the one bad day, like one bad day is gonna be enough for you to change your way of life, something like that. So I'm not so sure whether or not Kagera is a full-on evil dude or just trying to become someone that is trying to manipulate Beroba, something like that. I'm not sure, okay? I'm really not sure. But with that being said, let us talk about Ukyo S, okay? We actually get to see Ukyo and Sumori talking with one another in this episode. And when the first time when S actually says that, hey, maybe my sister make a wish or something like that, Sumori didn't actually rejected the idea of S calling her the sister of him, something like that. And I truly believe that they are actually, you can actually consider them to be related, something like that. But then again, I'm really not sure, okay? But the second time when S called Sumori's sister again, Sumori actually rejected him and said, I'm not your sister, something like that. But we actually get to see Sumori kind of like plays along with it. She's kind of like enjoying it a little bit. But I would say what I really want to talk about in this scene is Ukyo S wishes. He wished for his mother to be free, but at the same time, Ukyo S wish is meaningless, completely meaningless, because one thing we need to know right now, and only us, the viewer, knows about this, which is the truth about Sumori. Sumori also have the power of the goddess of creation. So even though if Ukyo S win this Desire Royale, manage to defeat all the other rider, including Buffa, at the end of the day, he is only gonna switch Sumori for the mother itself. And I don't believe Ukyo S doesn't care about Sumori. Ukyo S definitely 100% cares about Sumori. And I felt like maybe at the end of the day, when S realized that, hey, if I win the Desire Royale, it would actually means it would actually means that like I'm switching Sumori for my mom, something like that. So maybe it is also something that hinted at us in the opening song as well. Like maybe S is determined to save the mother and doesn't really care about Sumori's life, something like that. And we might actually get to see what happened in the opening song where Sumori actually points a gun towards S, because Sumori doesn't want to become the goddess of creation. That is 100% for sure. So maybe she tries to protect herself as well, and maybe we would actually get to see Sumori henshin into a rider in order to protect herself, okay? Like rather than expecting someone to protect her, she find it more realistic for her to protect herself, something like that. So that is kind of like a idea and a theory that I have, but I don't have a lot of things to kind of like really nail down what I'm trying to say here. But what I'm trying to say right now in this video, in this episode breakdown, is it is meaningless. S wish is meaningless, and that is really insane, okay? But let me move on to the next thing, okay? Because this episode, when they actually go into the fight and all those stuff, they actually go back to the first forest, the first episode forest that we actually saw. And not, is it the first episode? No, it's the second episode forest that we actually saw. And it is really amazing to see how things actually change. Like in second episode, we actually get to see both Neon and Kewa was like fish out of the water, doesn't know what they are doing, but right now they are actually standing against Ukyo S by saying like, hey, we need the DGP because we still have wish to be fulfilled. Neon want the world to forget about her, and Kewa wants to use the DGP wish system to resurrect all the dead riders, something like that. So but Kewa says something that is also really scary, because Kewa now seems like he has a target. He has identified the true villain of the DGP, and that is the goddess of creation. For what some weird reason that Kewa is actually angry about. He's angry that the goddess is is the he's actually blaming the goddess, which is really really weird in my mind. But maybe Keiwa's idea is like, since okay, Keiwa see himself as the good guy, okay, so he is, I would say, maybe a little bit of a hypocrite, because he is gonna act very similar to Buffa right now. He knows that the goddess of creation is using a lot of other people's life to fulfill someone's wishes, but right now Keiwa is doing the similar thing. He wants to use the goddess of creation power to fulfill his wish, and at the same time to undo all the so-called sin of goddess of creation itself. So what Keiwa has planned is a very very hypocrite thing, and hopefully he will actually eventually understand that as well. But I just want to end the video by talking about the bond over soba dialogue in this episode. Like Ukyo-S actually answered Buffa. Buffa asked like, why do you save them? Don't tell me you have grown an attachment to them, something like that. And Ukyo-S actually said, we actually bond over soba. And Buffa actually says soba, what, something like that. And I never actually think about this, but if you really think about the word soba, it could actually be a word of play here by soba ni iru, something like that. If not, I could actually be wrong here. My Japanese is not the best, but soba is like by your side or by someone's side, something like that. So the reason why Keiwa actually loves soba so much could actually be hinting at us that he is someone that is always gonna be by your side, and someone that is always by the side of Keiwa is the sister, and that is why we actually get to see Keiwa becoming so angry, so defensive, and going all out, going crazy to protect his sister, because if the sister is no longer by his side, it actually kind of like loses, it's almost like he loses his soba, he loses his favorite food, like he loses his comfort zone, something like that. So that is a really really interesting way to actually write the story of Tycoon and write the story of Keiwa in this episode. But let me know in the comment section below, am I thinking too much, am I dumb, am I stupid, or maybe my theory is smart? Let me know, okay? Because if you doesn't tell me, I will always think to myself of a genius, okay? But that is all from me. If you made it this far into the video, obviously you know what to do. Comment the word cactus in the comment section below, because I saw a cactus on my table, and that is this Final Fantasy cactus. I really love this cactus design, and I hopefully I actually got a bigger plushie of this cactus, but I think this is enough. I don't need kind of like a bigger one. Like I'm not gonna play with a plushie, but that is all from me. Hope you enjoy, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next one. Goodbye.